Is it embarrassing to have a boyfriend? So there's this article, a Vogue UK article, that was called, "Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing Now?" And I've been seeing it all over social media, and I saw a lot of people, a lot of women post about it and do memes about it, about how it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend, that it's much better to be single. And what the writer was saying was that women who a few years ago might have been posting a lot of photos of them and their boyfriend and kind of celebrating their relationship and really showing that relationship to the world. Now they are not doing that, even if they are in a relationship, because of some superstition that they will get some sort of evil eye, literally. Evil, superstitious evil eye, meaning other women are going to look at her and be jealous, and then that jealousy is going to somehow impact her life and her happiness. And so now they're actually, if they post a photo of her and her boyfriend, like some people are even blurring out his face. Based on the article, some women are saying it's just like, it's not really cool to do that anymore. It's more cool to be like single and empowered. And like I said, don't want to incite any sort of evil eye or jealousy. And then there's also some women who said that she had a really large following. And then when she finally got into a relationship, because she was single and she would post about that and she would write about that. And then she got into a relationship and talked about it and showed her boyfriend, and she lost a bunch of followers because of that. So all this prompted this writer to write about it, because it is actually pretty interesting. And I have a lot to say about this. And so here I go. So a lot of people are interpreting this as empowering, that it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend, and it's empowering to even talk about it, that it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend. And that it all comes down to having a boyfriend invites some kind of judgment, it invites jealousy, or it's an implication that you've lost yourself. So again, women are now there's a trend of women not posting about their boyfriends or pictures with their boyfriends, because the implication is you've lost yourself. You've centered your whole life around a man, and or it's going to provoke jealousy and judgment and the superstitious evil eye. And here's the thing, what is empowering is not centering your life around a man. There's nothing empowering inside of the woman who has made her boyfriend her whole world, to the point where she has given up on the things that make her happy outside of the relationship, given up on nurturing her friendships, given up on nurturing and pursuing her purpose and passion. And for centuries, this is what women have done. And centuries ago, it's a matter of survival. But this has been going on in the modern landscape forever. And so this idea of, I'm not going to center my life around a man anymore, is empowering. But where do we draw the line between not wanting to center our lives around a boyfriend or a man, and then saying having a boyfriend is embarrassing? To me, that is a huge leap. And it's two very different things. Not wanting to center your life around a man and wanting to maintain a sense of self and sense of purpose and a sense of fulfillment that isn't just about your relationship, which is what a lot of women tend to do, is wonderful. And I'm all for it. In fact, I champion it. Yes. But then now saying that having a boyfriend is embarrassing because you're afraid that it's going to provoke jealousy and then put a hoax on you, or it implies that you've lost yourself, that's not empowering at all. In fact, that's disempowering. And that sets back women many, many years, in my opinion. This episode is sponsored by Thrive Cosmetics. I love Thrive Cosmetics. I don't wear a lot of makeup. I kind of barely wear makeup, and Thrive is like my go-to. And I do like to kind of change it up with fall and just have things be like a little bit more cozy. That does include how I do my makeup and how I do my nails and the clothes that I wear. But something that you really need to know about Thrive Cosmetics is that every product is 100% vegan, cruelty-free, and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients that work with your skin, not against it. This is incredibly important. And it has over 150 million in product and cash donations to over 600 giving partners. So your purchase directly fuels real impact. And so, that's beauty with purpose. And I just love supporting brands that give back. Their liquid lash extensions mascara is incredible. I use it and all my friends use it, and makeup artists I know use it. It has over 40,000 5-star reviews. They have 6 shades. They last all day long. It is so incredibly easy to remove. It slides right off with warm water without yanking out your lashes. It is amazing. So complete your fall look. Go to thrivecosmetics.com/Jillian for exclusive offer of 20% off your first order. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/Jillian. So from my point of view, this article revealed something deeper about women, which is the shadow side of we women. And the first part of that shadow side is, I'm not going to like you because I'm jealous of you. And the second part of that shadow side is, I'm going to make myself small so that I am accepted by the group, so that I belong, and so that I do not make it so that the girls in the clique don't like me. And this specific kind of jealousy, the kind of jealousy that makes it so that a woman doesn't like a woman, doesn't support a woman, judges her, the kind of jealousy that makes it so that women will shrink themselves, will make themselves small so that they can survive, really. I mean, because survival really today is about making sure that we belong. It's so incredibly important. And I do think that this is a specific kind of jealousy that women do to other women. I don't see, men can be incredibly competitive with one another. It's all about one-upmanship. But with women, it's, how am I going to belong? And so if I'm going to belong, I better not be too beautiful, too smart, too successful, or too partnered. Otherwise, there's going to be women who are going to be threatened by me, and then they're not going to want to be friends with me. They're going to bully me. They're not going to want to hang around me. And men don't do that. And we can call it the patriarchy. Maybe it's something I don't, that's not what I'm getting into today, but it's something that as a woman, I really, really need to stand up for. And all of us women really have to be able to look at collectively this shadow part. Just like there is we all have a shadow side individually, and men have their shadow side collectively, and women, we have our shadow side collectively. And I think that this trend is shining a light on that in a major, major, major way. You're hiding something that's important to you because you are afraid that you are going to lose followers. And the only reason why you're afraid is because there are actually women who would unfollow you because of that. So do you see how both things just makes both women, the one who's jealous and then the one who's shifting her life so that she makes it so that the other woman's not jealous, both of these women are not empowered women. That is not how we support women. That is not feminism. That is not how we unite and get stronger together. it's actually how we get much, much weaker. So I was talking to a friend of mine about this very article in this episode, and she said, this is it's called breaking the contract. And I was like, what are you talking about? What is breaking the contract? She said, I have a core group of girlfriends that I get together with for drinks and dinner. And these particular girlfriends are in marriages that they are very unhappy in, or in relationships where they're very unhappy with their boyfriend. And a couple of them are single and having really bad experiences with the dating world and with the men out there. And she's like, and I'm happily married. And when we get together, it's like there's this whole conversation that centers around, let's see who has like the worst boyfriend or the worst partner, or like the worst dating experience with a guy. And here I am in a happy marriage with my husband. And whenever I try to add my 2 cents of like, well, he's not perfect, but, things are really great and whatever it is, it's like I'm breaking girl code. It's like I'm breaking the contract. And they all kind of like look at me and they're like, and they say it kind of underhandedly, just like, oh, whatever, you're perfect, or like, we don't have to hear from you. And then they keep going on and complaining. And she said, this happened to me recently and I felt so uncomfortable. She's like, I felt left out. And I felt like somehow, not purposely, but somehow I was being punished for actually being in a relationship with a man who I loved, and a good relationship. And it was so awkward for me. And I felt it so in my bones that like there was this sort of resentment from them, and they just didn't even want to hear from me in that moment. And so the whole rest of the night, it was like there wasn't a real flow. There was a flow between them, but there was no flow with me in it. And this was the most perfect example of what is going on, and what this article, which was a great article because it revealed so much what is actually going on with women and why we got to stop it. This episode is sponsored by Quince. Quince has something for everyone. Soft Mongolian cashmere sweaters for $50 that look and feel like designer pieces. Silk tops and skirts. I mean, it's just an incredible product. And their cashmere feels incredible. Soft, structured, and it doesn't pill. It is the kind of quality I would normally expect from a $200 sweater, not a $50 sweater. So it's pretty amazing. So find gifts so good you'll want to keep them with Quince. Go to quince.com/onlove for free shipping on your order, and 365-day returns, now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/onlove to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/onlove. You will not regret it. So let's investigate this jealousy and the minimizing ourselves so that we are not making someone else jealous. Here's the thing. When it comes to shadow work, which means that you look at the part of you that you've kind of repressed, that you don't want to look at, it's the less savory part of you. We all have shadow sides. We all have parts to our personality that are not, that are more challenging, right? They're not the best part of our personality, right? And so we repress it. But if we don't face it, if we can't just accept it, if we can't integrate it somehow, then every person we meet, like, have you ever met someone and like you don't know why, they just really irked you? Or someone you love, maybe it's a sibling or some other family member or friend, they do something, they have a bad habit or something that they're doing that bothers you so much, and you keep wondering like, why does this bother me so much? Oftentimes it's because it's something that you have in yourself that you have rejected so hardcore. And so then when you see it in someone else, you just immediately reject them. Now, that's not the case always when we're triggered, but when we are sort of triggered by something sort of like out of nowhere, or it feels disproportionate, then it is an invitation to look at the parts of ourselves that we might be repressing. And so this is going to be, I know, somewhat of a confronting episode for a lot of women, but you have to be honest with yourself. Do you get jealous? I mean, we all get jealous. That's a part of life. But does your jealousy go so far as to the point where you judge someone, or you don't want them to be in your group, or you unfollow them? When we start to get judgy, because women, we can get really judgy of other women. It's the least lovely side of women. We get very, very judgy and competitive. It's normal to feel envious of someone. They have something that you want. The reframe would be, what they have is something that is actually possible for you, or it's opening your eyes to what it is that like you should be pursuing in life. But be honest, like, have you in your life, like maybe you did this many years ago, maybe you continue to do this. Are there certain women that you don't want to keep close because you're actually jealous of them? Are there people who you have unfollowed on social media because they have a relationship and you don't? Have you ever looked at something and been like, oh, she's just showing off, or it's something that you want, but you tell yourself that she's full of it, so you unfollow her? We have to do better. And then be really honest with yourself, because I think this is something that a lot of women can really relate to, which is, are you making yourself small? Women know the narrative all too well of making themselves small to fit into a man's world, if it's at work, or making themselves small inside of a relationship. So this idea of making ourselves small is something that, I'm hoping for the men who have stuck around to listen to this or to watch this are able to develop some deeper understanding for the women in their life and some compassion. This idea of making ourselves small is it like follows us everywhere in different ways. And it's not really something. Men have plenty of challenges. But making ourselves small is, I feel, a challenge that is unique to women. And the last thing that we should be doing is making ourselves small so that other women aren't jealous. And, until we get better at not being so judgmental of each other, and instead lifting each other up and celebrating each other's wins and having each other's backs, until we really get to that point where we are, in the fullest sense of the world, a girl's girl, then you have to risk losing the followers. You have to risk not being part of the clique. You have to risk provoking resentment from your friends. Risk it. Don't ever, ever dim your light. I know that sounds kind of corny, but never, ever dim your light. If you have a relationship that you're proud of, showcase it. If you're beautiful and you're having a really great hair day, showcase it. If you are just killing it at work, showcase it. You have to risk not being part of the group, and find yourself friends who are just going to champion you and be the kind of woman who champions other women. This episode is sponsored by Fatty 15, my favorite new supplement. How much time, money, and energy have you personally spent on health, wellness, and beauty products? That's why I'm so excited to share with you C15 from Fatty 15, which is the first emerging essential fatty acid to be discovered in more than 90 years. That's incredible. And it supports healthy aging because, based on over 100 studies, we now know that C15 strengthens our cells and is a key healthy aging nutrient, which helps to slow biological aging at the cellular level, because if your cells are not doing well, you are not doing well. And that's been something that's been very key to my health. And what you should also know is that Fatty 15 has 3 times more cellular benefits than omega-3 or fish oil, everyone. So Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels to help support your long-term health and wellness, especially as you age. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/Jillian and using code Jillian at checkout. There was something else that really like struck my heart, like got me right at the gut, really, in this article, which is that there's a lot of women who are afraid to post about their relationship because what if that relationship ends? What if that boyfriend of them ends up betraying them? What if they end up getting divorced? What if they end up breaking up? Then they feel shame. This is something that I think so many people experience, which is feeling ashamed of the fact that a relationship that they were once really excited about didn't work, or a man or a woman who they were really excited about and thought that this person would be the one ended up not being the one and maybe even like being kind of terrible. And so that's why they're not posting about it. And I think that this really speaks to our pathological fear of being vulnerable. Like we have to be able to be vulnerable. Relationships end. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. Divorces happen. Doesn't mean something's wrong with you. Sometimes we're with someone and it seems amazing and they end up being terrible and we learn a lesson and we are all in this together. Sometimes we have to post about that. Sometimes we'll post about the relationship and then we post about the divorce. We have this thing on social media where we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people, and we think that like their lives are so much better than ours, and that we don't want to share certain realities about our life, like a breakup, or like a divorce. And the truth is, like, everyone is going through something. So many of the people who you admire are crying themselves to sleep at night, or wondering if they should just quit their job. So you just never know what someone is going through. And it breaks my heart that women have built this armor in particular that says like, I can't talk about a relationship. I can't talk about my boyfriend because it's embarrassing if he ends up not being my boyfriend. Like, what the hell? Who cares? Life happens. It's okay to break up. It's okay for a relationship not to work out. You don't have to refrain from sharing something on social media that makes you happy because it may not last. I remember when I got a divorce a little over 11 years ago, I was so ashamed. I felt like a complete failure. I felt like a loser. And I just want to hug me. I just want to hug the version of me that felt that way. And if you are going through a divorce, or like the person who you thought was like the most amazing person ended up not being amazing, you are not a loser. You are just going through something profoundly human. It is just part of the human experience that sometimes we just can't make a relationship work. And sometimes we don't choose well. I mean, we don't learn this in school. We learn it the hard way. So I just really hope that for any of you who are going through it, that you have the strength to be vulnerable, to talk about it with people, and to not carry that shame. So at the end of the day, we as women have two choices. We can either make ourselves smaller to not make anyone jealous and judgmental, or we can start celebrating each other. And you get to decide what kind of woman you're going to be. You get to decide what you're going to do with this. But I also really wanted to share that there is something incredibly empowering about this article. So yes, it revealed the shadow side, but I want to talk about the positive side of this conversation. This is, to be clear, this is not a takedown of the Vogue article. In fact, I think it revealed so much positive things, and I think that it was an article that brought to light so many important things. So I actually think it was amazing. But it did really hit on the fact that more and more women are seeing relationships as something that adds to their life. It's the dessert. It's the sweetest dessert to their life versus it being everything. And I'm seeing more and more women recognize this and making changes. Doesn't mean that their relationship is not a priority. It doesn't mean that their partner is not a priority, but they also are able to keep other things in their life that gives their life a sense of meaning and purpose. And this is something that men do better, generally speaking, than women. Girls from like teenage years when they start dating to well into adulthood, middle age, and beyond have had historically a bad habit of just dropping everything for a guy, making him the most important thing. And the amount of women who have centered their lives around a boy, the amount of girls who've centered their lives around a boy who doesn't even treat them well. This is like a very, very thick narrative. And the tides are changing. Women are really finally celebrating and living their lives in a way that a relationship is something that adds to their life, doesn't become their life. And sure, we can say this is codependency, anxious attachment. We can slap all these psychology labels on it, but the reality is that this is a narrative that is very thick inside a woman's existence. This is what girls do. And part of it is we've been taught. Part of it is we've been taught that the most important thing is a relationship and that our worth is determined by whether or not we are in a relationship. Part of it is that we just value connection. We value love and connection. And that is very much hormonal. We value bonding. We love to bond. And it's not that men don't, but we value it just a little bit higher. And so this movement of looking to a relationship to add to your life rather than looking to a relationship to determine your worth is the greatest and most positive shift that is happening in the lives of women and girls and women today. And that is what it is to be empowered as a woman when it comes to relationships. This episode is sponsored by Olipop. Everyone, Olipop is a new kind of soda that combines the classic soda taste with the benefits of functional ingredient blend to support digestive health. It's unbelievable, and I absolutely love the design of the cans. Olipop is reimagining soda with high fiber and only 2 to 5 grams max of sugar per can. I have to tell you, it's kind of delicious, and the adaptogens that are in it make me feel relaxed. It's kind of great. So when I am really craving something sparkly, this has become my go-to. They also have a holiday tradition, the return of our lovable Yetis unlimited edition cans and the addition of crisp apple, which is so delicious. If any of you grew up drinking carbonated like apple juice, and that was like a thing when I was growing up. And it brings back all these amazing memories. Also, the reality is that 2 out of 3 Americans say they suffer from digestive issues. I mean, this is insane. And 95% of Americans don't get the daily recommended amount of fiber. And too many people are drinking sugar sodas that are absolutely horrible for them. And Olipop is tackling both of these issues with a drink that tastes literally just like your favorite soda, but actually is good for your gut because it has 9 grams of prebiotic fiber in every can. So get a free can of Olipop. Buy any 2 cans of Olipop in store and we'll pay you back for 1. Works on any flavor, any retailer, including the Yeti limited edition cans. Go to drinkolipop.com/Jillian. Olipop is sold online at drinkolipop.com plus Amazon and available in almost 50,000 retailers nationwide, including Costco, Walmart, Target, Publix, Whole Foods, Kroger, and Heb. So having a boyfriend should not disempower you. It does not. It actually does not disempower you. And the more that women who date men think that having a man in their life romantically is disempowering, the more we make the gender war just worse. And here's the thing. You can say that not having a boyfriend, having a boyfriend is embarrassing, but if deep down what you really want is love and to be in a relationship, then you are not living in alignment with your own integrity. It is okay to want a boyfriend. It is okay to want a girlfriend. It is okay to want to be in a relationship. We are social animals. So you want to be able to find purpose, meaning, contentment, whether you are in a relationship or not. And you can want a relationship. You can want to build a family. You could say, that is what I really, really need and want. And at the same time, you could be fiercely determined to make your life great, even in the absence of it, or while you're searching for it, or while it's searching for you. It's not a but, it's an and. And so if you are telling yourself or telling others or falling into the trap that having a boyfriend is embarrassing, but really deep down you want a relationship, all you're doing is disempowering the men around you. What man is going to want to get close to you if he feels like there's a part of you that is embarrassed to have him? So don't stand in your own way by saying that having a boyfriend is embarrassing. What you want, there is absolutely nothing embarrassing about having a partner who supports you, who loves you, who celebrates you. That is something to scream from the mountaintops, because it is not that easy to find, because it is also not that easy to choose, because too many people don't love themselves enough to recognize that that is actually what they need and deserve in a partner. Anyway, I hope that this episode got you thinking. It's definitely provocative, and I think it was a very important one for me to do. I couldn't help but actually talk about this. And I want to hear from you. So please reach out to hello@JillianOnLove.com. Let me know your thoughts about this episode. Let me know in the comments. If you're watching this, make sure that you click subscribe. That's what really helps us. And if there's anyone in your life, any girl or woman in your life who really needs to hear this, maybe it's your friend group, please do not hesitate to share, because you never know whose life it could be changing. And I do believe that this is a message that needs to go far and wide to all women so that we can have each other's backs and celebrate each other. Until next time. Jillian On Love is a QCODE production, executive produced by David Henning and Steve Wilson, produced and edited by Travis Howe, music by Will Tendy.